Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Fax Of Life, proudly sponsored by ClipsEnergy.co. My name is Mike Ake, and joining me as always is Rick Farrell. How are you doing? It's just us two today for reasons which will become good and clear in the next few minutes. But it's just we thought we'd strip it back, take it back old school, and just have it us two chewing the fat, talking about here, there, and everything, here, there, and everywhere, here, there, and everything. Ah, well, it's one of those things. I've got a beer. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, reason why there's two is because there's been lots and lots of goings at Halifax, and the last two players that are having these podcasts have gone. So we didn't want to risk getting anybody else on, just in case anything happened to them, which is one of those things. But when it's come to its natural conclusion, it's how I can't think of it. I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised. I'm upset, but not surprised. It's one of these things. Two big ones got to focus on: Scott Morrell and Steve Tyra leaving. End of an era. It's last of the old brigade. It's a shame, but these things happen. Let's talk about Morrell first. He was announced first, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Big loss, not just on the pitch, but as everyone knows, a massive character, lead on and off the pitch. Is just an absolute. As I don't try and throw this term around. It's like I put on the post I did before. He's a legend. He's an absolute legend, and just sad to see him go, but needs must in a way. What do you reckon, Ricardo?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I thought it was the lever's been announced that had driven you to drink, to be honest with you. So
partly of that, anyway.
But you know, it's crazy times. It's not every year that you let go of not just one legend, but two. Like you're saying, that word gets bandied around a lot, but he's a real character, isn't he? He's one of those people. They had in football a few years ago. They had a bit of a similar one in Jimmy Bullard, a bit of a joker, he just enjoys playing the game. He hadn't got to the level where it's all so serious just yet. It's still just a game to him. Like I say, he could have been running around in his back garden with his brothers or whatever, and instead he were playing in front of massive crowds and scoring all these tries and creating these great moments for us. So yeah, Muzzer was he came in, and from the moment he came in, he just improved the standards around the place, didn't he? The fact that he was made captain straight away when you already had a guy in there that had been established for a long time, that says a lot about the kind of bloke he was. And then he did everything at our club, didn't he? I'm surprised that he didn't take Hilda's job washing kit at some point. So, yeah, it'll be a sore loss, a big miss off the field as well as on it. Maybe his better playing days are behind him, but like you say, mate, it's definitely time to move on now. The last of the Carl Harrison sort of relics, if you want to call them that.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, and you nailed it when you say he was a leader straight off the bat. I believe when the whispers out of that he's going to be key for captain when the time comes for them to play as well, and it won't surprise me one bit. And yeah, it's like I've said to friends and families that we've got the best out of him. He's not getting any younger. He's done incredibly well to maintain his fitness and also losing a bit of weight in lockdown in terms of the work he's been doing. And stuff.
Yeah, he looks the best he's ever looked as he leaves us, doesn't he?
I know, the irony is massive, really, but he's had one too many tackles on the clock. He's putting too many big hits and that sort of thing. And plus, what we'll continue to see in this stream, because I know that we've said the same in terms of conversations off the air and whatnot. Grix has to be able to build his team. He's got to be able to mould the team, and with Morrell still there because Grix is the third Halifax coach he's played under, and in terms of actual playing years, he's probably got more experience than Simon Grix in terms of how many years he's played and stuff.
Yeah.
Would Grix have the level of authority with Morrell in the changing room?
I don't think it's about that. I see the point, but I don't think it's about that at all. I think it's more that we respect Scott enough to let him, because as most people know, it's not just about that he's leaving us to go and play for someone else. He's got a job out of it, and that's going to set him up for the rest of his life. And we respect him so much as a bloke that we've allowed him to go and pursue other things. So it's more for him than anything else. I think if we had the choice, we'd have kept him. He's a great lad to have around the place.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if morale's low on a Tuesday night training session after a defeat, that's the kind of guy you want to greet you as you walk in to chirp you all up. So yeah, it's a big loss in that sense. But at the same time, it's a perfect chance for someone else to come and do it and take on that role.
Definitely. And looking back on what he's done, the amount of games that we've won because he's been on the pitch and because he's rallied the troops and been the sort of personality that he is, have been countless, really. And like,
yeah,
you look back to games. Probably like we banned this game on our podcast sort of far too often, but for good reason. For Toulouse away,
yeah,
fair enough. He weren't one of the stars in that game in terms of getting his name on the score sheet or assisting tries or anything, but he'll have been there of those countless sets of six that we had to defend and the heat that was down there, rallying the troops and getting us to go forward and stuff. He'd have been invaluable. And not later that he came over and down my pints as soon as everybody finished. Down my pints, but yeah, he's one of those. It's going to be very, very strange to see an Halifax team without Scott Morelli. And what we've always said for the years he's been with us, he's been really lucky with injuries. He's barely missed any games, really. To say the amount of work that he does. He's been amazing, but when he hasn't played, we've missed him, and we've got to learn how to play.
I was just going to come onto that because there were times where a few seasons ago there were a period where he was either out with a little injury and we looked a bit lost, didn't we? But there was one particular game at the Shane. I couldn't tell you who we were playing, but we were winning comfortably. I think it was a night game, and we put the cue in the rack, so to speak. We took Morel off, and we almost lost in the last sort of 10 minutes because we just couldn't keep things going. He's that kind of player. He has that much influence on everyone around him. But I'd like to think that he's passed some of those characteristics, some of those traits on to the younger lads that have come through our reserves and academy as well. So, you know, the enthusiasm will live on through other lads. I hope so.
Oh, definitely. His legacy is going to be massive for Halifax, and I really do hope he does return to the club in some sort of capacity. Down the line, he might not do, as I say, he's very well connected with Driglington Amateur Club and that sort of thing. He said he'd be propping up the bar when the new clubhouse opens.
Yeah,
so
he's going to own it by the end of this.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to see him back in some sort of capacity. If he's comparing in the dining, he said Pete Emmett sometimes. It'd be amazing because he is that sort of character, really. But it's for what he's done for the club is immeasurable, really. And it's hard to compare players from different eras because I know your rugby heroes, Gavin Clinch.
Yeah,
Is Scott Morel a better player than Gavin Clinch? Maybe not, but his impact is still as massive, even though it's in the division below and stuff. You've got to think of it that way. And when we talk about Tyra in a bit more detail, you've got to think about all of Tyra's points has come at second class rugby, really. But he's still got to score tries and kick the goals. Morel has still got to kick the ball, rally the troops around and stuff. And I think if you're thinking about fans' favourite 13s, I think there'd be a very high proportion of Scott Morel in their team. Because it's certainly in mine.
I'm going to say we already did this feature, didn't we? I think he was in there.
What about favourite, like in terms of like favourite player, not necessarily best.
Oh, absolutely. He'll go down as a lot of people's favourite ever Fax player just because of his personality. Personality goes a long way in sport, and when he's so unique, isn't he?
And he puts it all out there. Like as I mentioned to him when we had him on, he's a unique halfback in some respects because. Not just because of his stature, but the fact that he can put a hit in. He puts Fitzgibbon on his ass. He puts players like that, whereas other halfbacks don't necessarily do that. You look at Maguire as a six and Morel as a six, two completely different players, really, but still as effective, really. And he's just been an absolute class player, and it's just very, very funny that and some of the reactions from fans going, "Oh, he's absolutely amazing. How can we go without him?" And the same players who were bagging him for being too slow and overweight and stuff. So
I think that the only sad part of it all really is that we couldn't give him a proper send off like we would have liked because of everything that's going on. But it's a bit fitting in a way that it gives us a perfect. You're right there, Mike. You haven't never opened a bottle before.
I'm getting too excited about talking about Scott Morrell.
Unbelievable, mate. But I mean, he left us with some fantastic memories, didn't he? That we saw on some of the videos the other week.
Oh yeah.
I think your favourite will probably always be when you downed your pint after that game, because there are many lads that do something like that. That's just totally Scott Morrell. That is.
Definitely, and as I say, he's a fans kind of player for sure. Oh, yeah. And you could tell he loved playing for Halifax, and the goodbye message where he was choking up. I mean, he weren't the only one choking up, put it that way. And in watching it, and he just showed. Like I put on my personal Facebook, it's like if anyone ever doubts like what sports clubs mean to players and that he's not playing for team and stuff, then just watch that video, because it's very, very humbling to see a player that. Like, I've put it as like, the Halifax players are my heroes. Whoever pulled on that blue and white shirt are my heroes for 80 minutes and beyond, really. And to see, and like, anyone who stands around me knows how much passion I put into watching Halifax and stuff like that. But to see a player showing that, who isn't affiliated with Halifax in any way, shape or form, he's coming in the middle to even late stage of his career when he even joined, shows how long it's been there. Is just testament to what a genuinely decent chap he is, really. So he's
absolutely. It's quite fitting. It gives us the chance with this sort of lockdown and everything, and the fact that the season got cancelled. It gives everyone a chance to grieve before we do come back in with a fresh start. It's a perfect chance to draw a line under the past now and move to the future. Definitely,
and Griggs is sharpening his knife for no doubt the right reasons, because, as I say, it's if we were in normal times and a normal season at the end of this season, could you see him getting rid of Morrell and stuff? I don't know, because the transition could have been too much. It might have kept him on for another year, but kind of said, look, you won't be playing every week, kind of thing. And I reckon Morrell might have taken that, to be honest. But do you want that kind of player situation at a club? I don't know, but like as you said, his off-field persona is just as important as what he does on the pitch, really. But he's
making a cracking assistant coach.
Yeah, he might even make a cracking head coach if he wants to. I don't know, but as I say, it could be just a specialist. He could be like an attacking coach, because very much like in the Lee Breer's mould, his rugby brain is amazing. His reading of the game, his control of the game is just unbelievable. And I know I've kind of given the unofficial moniker of King of the Summer Bash, but when you look back at his, but he's not without reason. I'm not taking the mic. When you look back, if like on the video that you did for him, Rick, if you look back, if you put together all of Scott Morrell's highlight montage, his journey through the Summer Bash. Yeah. He's absolutely amazing. His games against Featherstone and then stuff against Bradford last year and stuff. I can't think of a better player who's
I used to always joke with Muzzer about this, saying, "Yeah, I'm onto you. I know your game." He's like, "What are you on about?" I'm like, "You only play well on Sky TV, so that when it's time for renewal on contract, you can say, look at this evidence I've got here." And he knew straight away that the best way to carry favour with the fans of a club is to smash the rivals every single time you play them. That's the best way to get into the hearts and minds of them.
Well, he knows he'd be an OKR player, doesn't he? He knows he'd be an OKR player. Put a big hit on an LFC Australian International, and he'll win the day there. But that does give him a little bit of a disservice, really, because he played well in lots of other games as well. But I get what you mean, and obviously he's taking it in the right way. And when we mentioned Summer Bash, he certainly gives it back to the fans. That belly celebration against Fev is priceless.
Absolutely.
It'll go down in history. It's a shame in a weird way that the camera wasn't the other way around, so you couldn't actually properly see the.
That's it, mate.
Or you might think differently.
But to be fair, I think they were set up at the camera for the other side because they're thinking, is Scott Morrell going to go for matching half here and nutmeg Keogh Carlisle? How many times has that ever happened on Sky Sports Rugby League?
Yeah.
So,
But no,
it's just the perfect time to draw a line, I reckon. I really do.
Definitely, you've hit the nail on the head there. You've got to draw the line. It's the perfect time to kind of, not just in rugby league, in terms of life and in home life and whatnot, to out with the old, in with the new. People have learned a lot of new skills during lockdown, that sort of thing. And Grix is obviously with the backing of the board, because obviously there'll be plenty of board members who'll say, you really think about getting rid of Scott Morrell? And think, what are you doing? But they've obviously backing him because he must have a vision. And I think one of his, when he took over from Richard Marshall, Simon Griggs, last year, I reckon one of his remits would have been, you've got to give me the chance to build my own team.
Yeah.
And he's got that chance now. And it's come under very weird circumstances, but you've got to give him the chance to do it. And obviously, we'll be discussing in the months and weeks to come about who's coming in.
Yeah.
But we've got to focus on what goes out, because you can't get people in if people are still there. We don't want a squad of 58, do we? We need a small competitive squad. Let's focus on other people that have gone there. And it's like a bit of disservice to them, really, that they've gone. With two big legends have gone, but there's still no less a loss, really. Jody Broughton. He's gone. He was arguably one of the players of the year. In 20, he's scoring tries for fun. He brings the ball out well. But again, Grix, he must be trying. If you look at the age of the players that he's got rid of, bar probably one or two, they are all on the wrong side of the 20s, 30s kind of thing.
Yeah, 30s.
He's obviously going a certain way, and he's obviously brought a lot to it. And again, with the youngsters like Conor McGrath, who is staying, what brought was to say, I don't know. I thought I heard that he did sign a contract. I don't know. Again, a contract still valid. I'm sure he signed a 2-year deal, but I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong in Statland. I don't know. I might be talking out my ass. I've had a beer. So Fox Piss might be staying. We don't know.
Might be giving away secrets, Michael.
That is not an exclusive. I don't know this. I really.
You're going to get me in trouble, Michael.
You are wearing a Halifax polo shirt, by the way.
Cut. So just moving on from the bit I've just cut out because Mike gave away a surprise. Carry on.
Yes. Anyway, Jody Broughton will be passing on his experience. Will pass on experience to young wingers at the club, who may or may not be staying.
Oh, cut.
But yeah, I'll say it again. I'm not going to mention the name for anything, but he's very much the Scott Morrell ilk. He's a very experienced winger who's played a lot of time in Super League. He's done his best for us. He's not put a foot wrong, in my opinion. It's just a shame that he's happened there. Is he only signed a 1-year deal? I don't know, but Grix is obviously taking it. He might have said, look, we're not going to keep him any longer, and gives him a chance to find a new club if he does want to find a new club. I don't know, but the best luck for him. He's done no wrong.
Absolutely. He definitely leaves with the best wishes. I mean, he came in, he made an instant impact, scored tries for fun, like you said, and did exactly what we signed him to do, didn't he? I think Grix said so.
You can't fault
him, but I mean, who knows the reasons? There's so much going on a day-to-day basis. Who knows the reasons for anything anymore? And I'm going to put my trust in the club to do the right thing and trust that they'll make the right decision. And obviously, when the announcements start coming in, before we start obviously talking about the lads that left, what did you make of the fallout from everyone about the announcements going out?
I
think it's justified. I think people might be justified, and
It does all seem to have come at once, really. It's like boom, boom, two big club legends, and boom, 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 boom. It seems to be all kind of a fire sale. Let's get everyone out with skin, all that sort of stuff. But it's a very, very tricky business, is transfers, because if we have signed players, then there might be agreements with the clubs that they sign from, that they can't announce them and that sort of thing. It's one of those. It's a game of chess, but also we've got so much time before the next season starts. What's the point in doing it? You can drag things out and stuff, but if Griggs or the board want to put things in a certain way, then you've got to trust them to do it. And
I think as well, I think deals are still being done. So to come out and say,
it's such a weird time because players' contracts are still up on, is it the 30th October?
Something like that. But you've also got the fact that Super League's still playing. Who's to say that we won't get anyone from any of these Super League sides and we won't know until the end of the year where they finish? And,
yeah.
You sign everyone now and then someone great becomes available in January just before season starts. And who knows, man? Who knows?
We could, for instance, have an agreement to sign someone in the Super League on loan for next year, and let's say let's use an example of a young fullback because we've just to put something in the air, a young fullback who is a backup to Lachlan Coote at Saints. Let's use that for example. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Lachlan Coote gets injured. He's out for the season. This young lad goes and plays for him and has an absolute stormer, and Saints go to the grand final and win it. Do you really think Saints are going to let him go after that? I don't think so.
That's it. There's so much. There's 3 months before we even hit the training field for the first time, and then there's no game scheduled. So I do understand people's frustrations with the way that it maybe came across, because it did look like we were just. But it's a case of that's all the negatives out of the way now. It's all positive news for the next 6 months. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of gradually peeling off the plaster in big reels of paper, we've ripped it off. Everyone's gone who needs to go, and then it makes the clamour for more signings even greater. It's like, I want signings, and then other Sonny Bill Williams. Sorry, that's exclusive. I've ruined. So a New Zealand second rower will come to Halifax, and he's great. Yes, but no. Just to disclaim, Sonny Williams isn't coming to Halifax yet.
It'll be a ref by the time he comes back round. I'm calling it.
I've said, I will clarify this now. I have said that Sonny Bill Williams is coming to Halifax. I've not said he's signing for us. I've said he's coming to Halifax. It could be
like Eddie Murphy came to America.
Yeah, it could.
Imagine him, Sonny Bill in the Acca, Sonny Bill in the Peace Hall, Sonny Bill in.
I would sacrifice a lot to see Sonny Bill Williams in the Acca in Halifax. That would be absolutely amazing.
Well, Sonny Bill, if you're watching, which you're not.
What do you mean? He watches every week.
Crash at Mike's.
I bombard him with mail to say, please watch it again. I love you. No. But he could be a Sky guest presenter when we make our triumphant return to Super League in 2023. You don't know. But anyway, we digress. We digress on these things.
Absolutely.
Let's look at another person that's gone, and one I'm personally a bit disappointed with, because I did use the example of young fullback, and that does fall on the guys of Reece Chapman-Smith.
Yeah,
so unlucky, because he was, when he signed, it was the recommendation. It was Rob Burrow who gave him the massive recommendation. He looked good in the friendlies. He looked quick. For some reason, it's just not happened for him. If anything, he's got a legacy, because he scored the match-winning try against London there in the cup game that led us on to the cup run that we had. But just so unlucky with the chances that he has or hasn't had, and that sort of thing. But again, he's not put foot wrong, and you can't blame whether it's a mutual decision for going. I don't know, but he needs to be playing. He deserves to be playing 13 rugby, and where ever that is, they've got a really good player on their hands, because I really rated him. But
the praise that he got coming out of Leeds Academy was huge, wasn't it? One of the best that he'd ever seen in his time at Leeds. But like I say, playing opportunities limited at our place. We've had a couple of good fullbacks over the last couple of years when we've had him in the team. So he got his game on the wing. Is he better than some of the wingers we had to play out there? Probably not. And it's a case of with no reserves now. Like you say, it's fair to him. He's come and done as a job. If you can find another club, do it, because you probably won't get some game time here. And it's, it works for both parties, I'm sure.
Of course, yeah. And I don't think Champy will have any ill will against us, really, because he's been part of the squad. Like when I was lucky enough, I started to rub it in again, Rick. But when we were over in Toronto, I had a good chat with him after the game in Toronto, and I kind of said the same. I said to him, I said, "Look, what do you think?" Because he was a sub that day, and he only got on for a little bit. Part of it would be good because it was so hot over there. But he said, "Oh, I really, really want to play for this. I love playing for this club. I think it's brilliant." And it just shows, like we mentioned in podcasts before, it just shows what a brilliant club we've got back to front to back. When you've got players who love playing for us, who will always come back to see us and support us. And for a guy that isn't playing, who's yearning to play, who only gets bit parts, to say that, I thought spoke volumes, really. And hopefully he does have a good career and that in front of him. It's just a shame that it's not worked out for him here, because I personally think he deserves a shot. But obviously, Griggs is going a different way. He's going a different. If the fullback, if it is Scott Griggs, if it is Woodburn Hall, for instance, well, three completely different players, but both, if you're looking at Woodburn Hall and Griggs, different types of players to Chapman Smith. Chapman Smith is lightning quick, and he's a bit small in stature, really, whereas Woodburn Hall and Griggs have got a little bit more about them, really. So it might be going that different way. We don't know, but he's been a good one in my eyes, and hopefully he does the business going forward. But it's a shame to see it go. But the point I think you've nailed on there, Rick, is about the lack of reserves or academy thing for that. I think if we kept the reserves, we probably would have kept some of these players that we've let go, really. But we've got to cut our cloth accordingly, haven't we? And we've got to. It's not because we are skint or anything like that. It's because we don't have a reserves squad to do that. And you look back at one of the successes. I know that you're I'm a big adamant believer in this. Is that the success that we had under Richard Marshall, because we had a small squad. Yeah, and we kind of, there weren't too many chopping and changing, really. And when he did have that big squad, that's in 2016, it kind of fell apart for him a bit. Yeah, but maybe Griggs is going for that tight knit feeling, that squad. Another departure, which didn't necessarily surprise me, but it surprised me in terms of who he's gone to. Dan Fleming to Castleford. Yeah. In terms of getting a Super League gig, he's definitely got a potential there. But for Castleford to go for him, I thought Castleford were well stocked on forwards, but they must see something in Dan. Obviously, he's a former Castleford player himself, so he's got himself a trial there, and fair play to him. Like we said in previous podcasts, anyone who gets a shot of playing in Super League from a championship side, you can't blame him for doing it.
Yeah, it's a shame to lose any lad that a hometown lad from the hometown team is always a shame. But it probably didn't work out for him at Fax the way he would have liked. And if they've seen something in him that they reckon can help him in the short term, who's to say he won't be back again? Who knows? But yeah, you can't stop stepping his way there. I think Yeah, and then family,
he's playing
all that sort of stuff.
He's playing rugby as well. He's got the opportunity to actually play rugby here and now. He's got a month trial there, and he could be playing on Sunday or Saturday, wherever they're playing. He could well be doing so. Fair play to him. And if it is a short-term deal and he comes back to us, he might come back a better player and with more experience and that sort of thing, and pass on that really well. But it's a shame, really, because a good Dan Fleming is one of the best props in the Championship, easily. Yeah, it's just, I don't think we've seen it that often, really, and I'm sure he's one of the first ones to say that as well, because he's not been the Dan Fleming that we saw when he first came, or we were dominating Mitch Clark at the Summer Bash, who was man of the match for Wales in the European Championship game that they had. He just wasn't that sort of player for whatever reason. I don't know, might be carrying injuries, lost form, whatever. He just didn't seem to happen that much. But it could revitalise him a bit, and that could be a good thing, really. And he could be back at us And you're right in what you're saying. Local Fax lad, he's got the chance to do well.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, definitely. Who else has gone? Who else has gone?
What, you mean you have prepped for it?
I have prepped. I've had a beer. I'm taking a leaf out of your book, Rick.
Blimey. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check that.
Well, one of the ones which might not necessarily materialise because of situations completely out of his control is Paul Brearley. Now,
yeah,
we don't know what the hell's happening with Toronto at the moment, and in terms of segueing a little bit, to put it in a wider context, what's happening with their players is absolutely disgraceful.
yeah,
It's just dragging rugby league's name through the mud, and for all the good that Toronto have done previous to this, it could just completely ruin it by the way that they're treating the players, the likes of Latelli and Luttick, and who have not been paid, to the point of having John Wilkin on Sky and having really sly digs of, have you been paid yet, John? Or I'm checking my phone. But it's just not nice, really. And it's just rubbish. But in terms of, from a more facts focus, we've lost a really good player in Brearley. I think he's shown really good.
He showed a few really nice touches, didn't he?
Yeah, and to lose a player who's chasing a Super League dream, which is all fair and well entitled to do so, but to a club who's just imploding through no fault of their own, because it is genuinely the coronavirus pandemic which has brought this all upon them.
Yeah,
it's kind of not their fault, but
it's exposed the business practice and the business model a bit. But definitely. It's one of those things, when you're putting a business plan together for a transatlantic sports team, something like this would never be in the contingency plans because it's never happened before. So I can't believe that people don't cut them slack, but people have their agendas, don't they? And I'm still convinced it's a good thing in the long term, just for the sake of the new fans that are getting involved in the game and interacting. I don't want us to lose them, but at the same time, to not pay someone what's owed, even while all this is going on. You've made a deal. People's lives, man. Rugby's still a game at the end of the day.
It's about human beings. It's about It's about how you treat human beings and the way that they've treated some players, because it has come out, and it's had to come out. Otherwise, and that's the class of the guys on Latelli and Luttick to say that they didn't want to say this, but they've had to because it's extreme circumstances. The way that they've been treated is absolutely shocking, and it needs a bit more, probably more control over the RFL about it's such a tricky situation, really, because if coronavirus weren't happening, Toronto would have been playing in Toronto and they would have picked up wins and they would have got so much more fans. It's like Matt Shaw said in our previous podcast, they were banking on getting to Toronto and people seeing what an amazing experience it is. Yeah. I'm not just rubbing it in, but it genuinely the potential for Toronto not just to be massive in Canada itself, but to be a massive global brand is there. You look at the Toronto Raptors, and fair enough, basketball is a lot more established in North American sports, but basketball still is not a traditional Canadian sport. It's ice hockey. It's ice hockey.
Well, I'm going to say, aren't there Maple Leafs? Is that ice hockey? They've just been knocked out of some big tournament.
I don't know.
They're terrible at it. To say that the national game, you say, is ice hockey, and they're terrible at it. I don't know. And something that they're not known for. They've just won the league last year or whatever. So potential. What you've got to realise is it's a massive international metropolitan city. There's only one of those in England, really. And it's got a rugby team that doesn't do so well. Here's one that has a chance of actually doing well.
Yeah, and the knock-on effect could have been massive. And it could still be if they are let to. If this rubbish pandemic thing shoves off by the start of next year, they've got and will Super League say, right, you start getting a championship and work your way back up or whatever, then they've got a chance to do it again, because they were getting best part of 10,000 crowds in championship, and genuinely they were right. It's in like when we played, I think it was a low gate, and it was 7,000. And they genuinely were there. It's just that North American sports are consumed completely differently. They just walk around during the game, and it's just kind of there's so much more going on, and it's very very strange. To be actually there, witnessing it firsthand. But there weren't any cardboard cutouts. There were genuinely that amount of people there, and there was a bit of a buzz about it as well. And Toronto is a sports mad city. You saw murals of Raptors players and Blue Jays players and all that sort of stuff all around, and it is a massive opportunity there. But unfortunately, the situation we all find ourselves is taking a hit on our coffers massively. But again, you're talking about business practices. It shows the risk of having a sugar daddy, so to speak, in Argyle can have. And we've seen it in other clubs like Huddersfield. Ken Davies had to put a massive amount in to keep them going. I listened to a really, really good interview with Michael Carter on Radio Leeds about the work that Michael Carter's the owner, but luckily he's got a lot of help in terms of the council and other benefactors that put money in. But even so, it's still hand-to-mouth existence in some respect then, and to actually kind of exist at a club in these sort of times, really. But to bring it back to in terms of a rugby league player, I think it's just a shame for Brearley, because what an absolute dream 18 months, 2 years he's had from playing amateur.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's had a meteoric rise to fame, hasn't he? I mean, to go from playing at your amateur club to the world's first international sports team. Well, not international, but you know what I mean. Transatlantic is a word I was
Transatlantic, yeah. It is, and again, it'd have been brilliant. I don't know if he's got a young family or anything like that, but the opportunities it could give him are massive. And but hopefully he gets his opportunity one way or another, whether it's with Toronto or with the Super League team. I don't know, but he's definitely left Halifax, and that's a shame, really, because he had the makings of a really, really good player. I think they'll still make a very good loose forward, to be honest. He'll play in the second row, but I think with the skill set that he's got, I think he'll make a very good loose forward. But
there's one of Grix's signings that he made for this year. Came in, played well. Who's to say he can't go find another one?
Yeah, exactly. That's very, very true.
Going out and finding a player that can play. There you go.
Aye. For sure. Who else has gone? Go on, Rick. You start with someone.
Tommy Lee came in and out without playing a game. There's not many that have done that. I think Mick Nanning was probably the last one to come in and go without playing a game.
He played a bit of a pre-season friendly.
All right, I stand corrected then. He might be in a class all of his own, but yeah, it would have been nice to see him. I think he said he fit straight in with training, but like I say, it's just wasn't meant to be, was it? So we've got rid of.
You've got to think about some of these players as well who might have made these decisions and were on this path pre-lockdown. Might have just completely changed the life you. Like I've known in my place of work and my area of work that my job's completely changed what it was before lockdown, and the people who were doing certain roles before have gone to something completely different, and other people have completely reevaluated their work-life balance in terms of how they live. You might have people who've dropped, like for instance Tommy Lee, who's dropped down from the full-time Super League into a part-time environment of Championship. He might think, do I really want to be playing rugby part-time when I've got family here? No. He might decide against it. We don't know, but that's what you've got to think about with some of these departures and some of these moves. It might not necessarily be rugby reasons why they've gone.
Yeah.
Because as we've mentioned in terms of the players that we've mentioned, like in terms of Morel, and we'll get on to Tyra in the second part. But it's a very short career in terms of a life, and fair enough, it's a long career that some people have had, but it's still short in hopefully a long life, really. So players might have changed the world view, to go a bit deep.
Absolutely, yeah. The funny thing next year as well is how we're going to approach the Huddersfield dual reg. Are we going to go heavy on that? Are we going to, because we had that partnership link up thing, didn't we? Is that going to stay? No, it's still way too early to start speculating. Really,
Of course there is. Is there going to be dual reg? Is dual reg going to go completely because clubs want to
our
look after
Super
all
League
finances
reserves and
stuff?
academies, our Super League reserves and academies going to go. Can they afford to keep those going?
Yeah, because I know it's been scrapped for the rest of this year. I don't know if it's been scrapped for next year, but it's finances are going to be so strictly monitored, just in case of any scenario. Well, hopefully we'll never get a pandemic like this in the future. But it's such a very, very strange future. But from and again, to kind of segue, we can segue all we like on this podcast. We always say it's anything, everything. I'm so glad that Dave Grayson put out the press release that he did to show that it's not all doom and gloom. We are in a very, very good place. The fact that yes, we've not played games. We're not getting money through the coffers, through the dining packages, natural bums on seats or feet on terraces. But we're getting Sky money. We're not paying rent to council because we can't use the share. The vast majority of fans are going to let the club keep the season ticket money, which is an amazing gesture. And I genuinely do hope, and this is not a selfish point I'm making, that I hope that the club do something for these fans who do give that their season ticket money, because if they don't, then they could risk it coming back to bite them in the backside. Really, but there's got to be some sort of reward. It's all fair and like it could go down like taking advantage of some.
It's an acknowledgement of someone's goodwill, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes. I've spoken to people who are quite hesitant to give back the season ticket money because they've not got.
Well, times are hard, man.
Times are hard, but it's a principle of paying something and you've only got a quarter of the service.
Yeah. Have you never had Virgin Media broadband then?
I've got Virgin Media at the moment, so if it suddenly cuts out, you might know why. But no, it's like if you paid for a full price pizza and you only had 2 slices of it, or only got 2 slices of it, you won't pay for the full one, would you? Kind of thing. I'm putting it in an avenue I can relate to here.
What are you put
a thing? If you pay for a full pie and only got a quarter of it.
Thought you were going for pizzas. You're a secret Ninja Turtle.
Well, my name is Michael, and I've thought for a long while Michelangelo, cowabunga dude. But yeah, it's one of those where, in terms of the club, we're in good shape. We're in good shape. We're still getting the Sky money. The expenditure hasn't been there. Fair enough, we're not getting the income there.
Yeah, this is a time, isn't it? This is a time really to where owning your own ground is a massive burden financially. Look at, I tell you,
so ironic.
We haven't come on. I know, because obviously when things were normal, you could make money out of your ground and whatnot. But I mean, fair play to Barrow. I've seen, I think tomorrow they're doing a music festival, aren't they? Outdoor, and they've had a big beer garden. So what a way to put it to good use. And Fev, I think, have done like a drive-in theatre type thing.
They have, yeah.
So there are some ways, but I still don't reckon you can recoup anywhere near the amount of upkeep, all that sort of thing. So
you want to be able to budget for it either. You can't budget for this sort of thing. You said, going back to the point about Toronto, you can't budget for these sort of things. And ironically, having a council-owned ground has actually worked out well for Halifax, because we've not had to pay any rent because we've not been able to use the facilities.
Well, they shut it, didn't they? So and that's it.
There's
no rates getting used or any of that. So
exactly, we're still getting the Sky money. We're not. All the staff are furloughed, so we're sitting. I won't say sitting pretty, but we're not too bad. And then getting rid of. Letting people go who could well be high earners for good reason, because the likes of Morel and Tyra have given.
Well, you say that Tyra when I was doing the interview for his leaving, said as soon as it's announced, I'm getting onto those people saying, what are the highest earners? I don't think I've ever been the highest earner. If I said, I'll be replying to him, I'll be putting him straight highest earner.
Oh, sorry, Tyra, for the lowest earner for the club, obviously. But yeah, it's not just because you restructure your finances doesn't mean you're in bad shape. It's to build for the future, and I think that Dave Grayson knows exactly what he's doing. That's his background is business and restructuring business and stuff like that. And I think he's been, for right reasons, very conservative and stuff to kind of survive this, maintain next year, and then build for the future. I think we could go quicker, but what's the point? There's going to be no one who's going to be going in a big steep curve like that. Most people are going to be like this, or at the very, very least, but most people could be like that. So
exactly, it's such a fine line, isn't it?
Aye, for sure. That's it for the first part. Let's put it there. So a nice little break there. Join us on the other side for more chat. Sponsored by clipsenergy.co.uk.
Clips Energy!
Talking about some life. Join us on the other side. Hello, welcome to another part of Talking the Facts of Life, proudly sponsored by Eclipse Energy.
Eclipse Energy!
That they should get you to do the jingle for Eclipse Energy. It's like, I see. For those of a certain age, you'll appreciate that joke. Yes, Eclipse Energy.co.uk, run by lifelong Halifax fans. Sponsor the main shirt. I need to get a shirt for the Eclipse Energy shirt for this. Yeah, Rick. From the club
down there.
Yeah. Yes, for any of your home heating installation needs, give them a bell. Go on the website, get them sorted.
Yeah, the world might have stopped, but those boys are still grafting.
Yeah, they're still putting money into the club as well, so repay them back by letting them know if you need any work doing on your home for your heating
Just
needs.
check them out as well. Just get some traffic over to their site, help them boost their numbers. Great for everyone. Check them out.
Definitely.
EclipseEnergy.co.uk.
Yeah, but more importantly, I'm Mike A. He's Rick Farrell, and we're doing this podcast. For anyone who's watching, we'll reference it. We tried to do a live stream. Well, I tried to do a live stream. It fell flat on its ass.
You and your crazy ideas.
It was one of my crazy ideas. I mentioned in the first part, people doing new things in lockdown and in this time, and the fact that this podcast hasn't been proper for 8 months now, near enough. And I thought, oh, let's do a live stream. Other people do it. Let's do a live stream. Can't be that hard, can it?
Wrong.
Oh, what can go wrong? Everything. Although, to be fair, it did all right. It got Laurie on. Laurie from the show, absolute legend. Thank you very much for coming on. But it also got 34 people watching, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable, Jeff. The little pokey podcast about a rubbish northern sport gets 34 people on a Friday night when the sun's shining, watching that Yorkshireman in glasses talking a lot of bollocks and struggling to work a phone. I think that's pretty good, to be honest. We had some questions come in, which
I'm glad you stopped at your own description then. Anyway, we're about to give you a right hook.
Yeah, we have some questions there, and I will mention again, Nick Barber, thank you very much for this shirt that you see there. I mentioned it on the live stream. I got that shirt from him. He's got lots of classic shirts. The ones that are on his wall or his bed, which he lays out before every Halifax game and takes a picture to see everyone on Facebook. He does sell, so if you want a classic shirt, give him a bell. I'm sure he'll be able to.
Yeah, we should take the camera down to Nick's place and get some good footage of all the shirts, because some of them you won't see ever again.
Yeah, it's amazing. I follow classic football shirts on social media, and so there's some rare shirts on there. And the stuff that Nick's managed to get is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, he's a good lad. He'll tell you rubbish jokes like there's a black escort outside, but that's a different story for a different day. Let's get to these questions. I will mention first. Like I can't remember the lass's name, but say we're doomed. We're not doomed. Stop overreacting. We're not doomed.
I think she was talking about the stream was doomed.
I know she's talking about the stream. Halifax is a club and we're not doomed. We're all right. We're doing all right. Keep the faith, everyone.
Moving on.
Positivity, peace and love. Peace and love, Ringo.
I like this new podcasting Mike when he's had a beer or two. Life and soul at party.
I'll do a Ringo Starr then. Peace and love. I warn you, peace and love. No more questions or they'll be tossed. Anyway,
we had a question from Nick Barber. We're not in the basis of breaking any stories or anything, but he says thoughts on Connor Robinson rumoured to be signing for Fax.
it's the eternal rumour. Ever since he'd left, there's been rumours about him coming back, really. But no one can deny Connor Robinson is a bloody good player, and he's done very, very well since leaving Halifax. And one of the kind of weaknesses in Robinson's game when he was at Fax was he was a jack of all trades but master of none. Is he an halfback? Is he a loose forward? Is he a fullback?
There was a hooker, wasn't he, as well?
There was a hooker at some point. He just couldn't nail down one position. He went to York, went to League One. He got League One Young Player of the Year when they went up, didn't they? I seem to remember. Established himself as a 6. Did wonders for him when they got to 3rd last year in New York, and then he's done very well. Let's not forget, York won't want to get rid of him. Everyone just thinks, oh, if actually going to call it, York won't want to get rid of him. Why would York want to get rid of York?
I'm not surprised he's been linked with us because obviously our main 6 has gone, and we'll be looking for a championship. Standard halfback to fill the void, so to be linked with someone like him who has history with the club, it's not surprising. I don't know. I don't know who else is out there. Like I say, Super League might not be done for quite a long time. We should say we won't get a Super League half. I don't know.
Exactly. Again, we mentioned the first part about injuries that could happen or people off with coronavirus and that sort of thing. There could be an halfback which drops out in Super League, and they could. OKR might go for him back because they're bottom at the league at the moment, and fair enough, there's no relegation this year, but I don't think Tony Smith wants a women's team, so they might come in for him. He's an ex-player. We don't know really, but that is the eternal rumour. And if he does sign, we're getting a really good player, but we don't know. I'm sure York won't want to get rid of him. But why would York want to get rid of one of their best players? It's one of their rivals. It just seemed daft, but it's the eternal rumour that don't want to go away. If that's my opinion, I think it'd be a great signing, but we just don't know yet, and we just don't wait for rumours to be confirmed one way or another.
Wait for a phone call.
It's tittle tattle at the moment. There's more evidence of Sonny Bill Williams coming to Halifax than Connor Robinson at the moment, because I've been battling about it for years. But hey ho.
We did have another question, but I think we pretty much covered it in the first part of the podcast from James Phillips, who asked what our opinions on the comings and goings were, even though it seems to be all outgoings at the minute. I think we pretty much covered that. Keep the faith.
Yeah, we did.
It might seem all doom and gloom. It's giving the chance for the players as well to go out and seek other deals, and I'm quite happy with the way we've gone about this business, to be fair.
So have I. And as we mentioned, apart from Chapman Smith, they're pretty much all players, and then Brealey to some extent. They're all players who are the wrong side of the 20s, 30s. We've had their best, or they've had their best days. Fair enough, we haven't had the best of Jody Broughton, but he's had his best days. We've had Morel's and Tyra's best days. Would they have given us much more? They definitely would have put the effort in, but in terms of actual ability, in terms of what could be available and what Grix might be able to get with the contacts that he's got in the game.
We don't really know what style of play Grixie wants to play with, do we? Because he inherited Marshall's squad.
Very good point.
And we haven't had a chance to see what type of player he wants to play these very important positions, especially halfback. If we've lost 2 halfbacks and we're going to get 2 fresh halfbacks, we might get an entirely different style of play. So
we could do. And with Halifax have been criticised not just from opposition fans, but also from our own fans, but not necessarily have been blessed with pace in the halfbacks for the last 9 years because Morel's been there. We could have very, very quick halfbacks next year. We don't know. But one of the things for sure, for anyone who watched the Rugby League Match Chat stream episode, again, Matt Shaw will give you a shout out as always. Watch the Rugby League Match Chat stream with Paul Sculthorpe and Lee Breers. If anyone who hasn't watched it, it's on their YouTube channel. It is an amazing watch. It is absolutely fascinating.
I love this. We're back to talking plugs. Things are back to normal.
Yeah, definitely. But Lee Breers said that Simon Grix was the most underrated player and the best rugby brain to have, and he must have made a massive impression for him. Lee Breers is currently the Warrington assistant coach, and if Griggs can utilise some of that connections there, and what he must want with the mandate that he's got from the board, like I mentioned in the first part, he's got a mandate from the board to say, right, you can rebuild your team. It's so exciting. I don't want to get
exactly. It's exciting because the thing as well is Marshall, when he was signing players, he looked for certain characteristics, didn't he? Grixie might want a certain type of person that's different to that around the club as well. So I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I'm excited to see what is going to transpire. There's a long way to go, and we live in a world where everyone wants instant gratification, clicking refresh, and you get your love arts and notifications and whatever. We just have to be a bit patient with this. I've got total trust in the club to do the right thing here, and I really think if the thing about Grixie is, and pardon me French, but he's no bullshitter. If he says that the signings are significant and they're going to turn some heads, then they're going to turn some heads. So,
I've got complete trust in Griggs.
I can't wait to get going.
I can't either. It's going to be a long time coming, but I'm excited. Not least because you've got Griggs, and this is where I respect him even more. The one of the weaknesses, well, it's not necessarily a weakness, but one of the less positive aspects of Marshall's regime was that you could accuse him of being a bit too loyal with players who he could have got rid of earlier, possibly. You just don't know. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I'm a nice guy myself, believe it or not, and I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I think it's a very good trait to have. But Griggs seems to be a lot more ruthless, and he's got that ruthless knife out to cut the cloth accordingly, and he's gone and done it. So
well, I suppose one man's ruthless is another man's decisive. He knows what he wants.
Very true. But the other point I'm going to make related to that is Griggs is an Halifax lad. He's an Halifax fan. He's going to want Halifax to succeed. He's not going to mess around. He's not going to play around at this and just have experiments. He'll have a clear idea, and he'll want Halifax to be the best team possible, really. Fair enough, in a vested interest that he'll probably want to get a top coaching gig in the Super League, whether that's assistant or head coach or whatever. But
never mind Super League. Could be looking at the NRL if he can get his.
No, sky's the limit for him. Sky's the limit, as I say. If he's getting endorsements from Lee Breers, and even fully agreed with Lee Breers, say what a class player was, what class grade he's got, and if he's getting endorsement from those two massive names in the game, then we've got an absolute diamond, and we've got to trust him. We've got to trust him to do it. And you're absolutely right what you're saying, Rick. It's the first chance he's got to actually to get his own team. He inherited Marshall's team, and then this year, again, because of the lack of funds that we got, because of the low league finish and stuff like that, it was kind of hamstrung in a way. Now that we kind of have got our financing on, he's got the chance to kind of not be so sentimental, because it's a tough gig to get rid of Morel and Tyra. And we'll come on to Tyra very shortly, but two massive names and massive personalities in the changing room, to get rid of them like that is a big call. But I believe ultimately it's the right call, because you've got to rebuild a team. You look at all sporting dynasties, I don't want to compare us to sporting dynasties, but every successful club, you rebuild every few years.
Yeah.
Look at Fergie for Man United. He rebuilt and he got rid of players, and he rebuilt and was not successful. Marshall kind of rebuilt a little bit in his time, in his tenure there. He got rid of some players. And
to be fair, I wouldn't really say that Marshy rebuilt. Marshy sort of put the shoots in place for the reserve. So yeah, we might have rebuilt. We rebuilt from within. It might seem a bit crazy to Fax fans watching for us to be saying that Grixie could get an NRL or a Super League job when you look at our record last year. We weren't exactly great in the league. We had that good cup run and whatever with him in charge. But like you said, he inherited Richard Marshall's squad. So when he can only be judged when he's built a squad from scratch. And if we're still rubbish, then fair enough. Maybe just not the right time and place. But you can't judge him until he's had the chance to build it from scratch, which is what's happening now. I just think it's a perfect time for positivity. We need more positivity in the world, less negativity.
Of course. Definitely. Be kind. #be kind.
But everyone's entitled to their opinion, obviously.
Oh, of course, and
Never.
again, you can see both sides of things. I'm frustrated because I want Halifax to be the best team in the world. I believe that they're the best team in the world, and I want to be that. But you've got to have a little bit of context about it. That we're not the richest team in the world. We're not the most successful team in the world, and we're not the biggest team in the world either. So we've got to get there some way somehow. And to do that, we've got to get rid of a fair few players for Griggs to rebuild. And I think some of it, I say ruthless and stuff. I think he's been good with some players, the likes of Chapman Smith. Chapman Smith, a rugby player, would Griggs want him as part of his squad? Of course he would. But Chapman Smith has probably gone, hang on, I want to play. I want to play every week.
Like I said, he's done the lad a favour. He's gone, look, you're probably not going to play every week here. I'm doing you a favour by letting you go somewhere else to try your round, rather than letting you kick around and play 6 games a year and then you might lower your stock. Now's the time to do it.
Definitely, because especially because of the injuries that he's had and the disruption he's had to his young career, he needs to be playing regular competitive rugby to get to fulfill his potential. Because otherwise, he'll get to a stage where he can't because his body's not had a chance to catch up really, and that would be a crying shame. But Griggs is doing the right thing for the right reason. And sometimes you have got to cut deep in order to do the right thing. And rather than kind of softly, he's been very clinical about stuff. Arguably, one of his biggest calls is getting rid of Steve Tyra. Now, we don't know how much it was a mutual decision, whether it was Griggs wanting really.
I believe we wanted him to stay. I think it's Steve's decision more than anything.
Right. I kind of hope it is because I would hate for the guy to. I know we bang on about it, he's bantered about it, to miss out on the possibility of breaking a points record at a club, which is a phenomenal achievement in modern rugby. But for us to say cheerio, I think that would have been awful. And from the interview that he did with him, in terms of his farewell message, I think it may well have been a family decision and that sort of thing. And so I mentioned in the first part, this time in lockdown and quarantine and whatnot has made people reevaluate their lives and about what they want from life. The families become so much more important and stuff like that. And Tyra has sacrificed so much for Halifax, not just in terms of on the field, but in time and effort just to even get training and stuff.
I feel sorry for him, and I asked him about it. I said, I'm sure the one thing that you won't miss is the M62 on an evening 4 or 5 times a week. So he said, I can get to training ground close to my house in 3 minutes, or it takes me an hour to get to Fax, and then we might get stuck in the traffic jam for half an hour. And it drains you. And he's working again now. I think he was full time when he was first with us. He's working now. So there's so many things to take into account. But is that is affecting his personal life worth holding a record at our club as much as he loves us? Maybe not. Like you said, this sort of pandemic, whatever you want to call it, it's giving people a chance to reevaluate what's important in life. Rugby league is still only a game as much as we all love it. And the same with Muzza. He's got a chance to go do something for himself, and we cannot be good. He's given us everything, absolutely everything. So if he then turns around and said, look, this is for me that I want to leave, it's my time to leave, I don't think it's right to stand in his way.
Again, he'll go down as an absolute legend.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
Definitely. I think along with Morel as well, I would make a big case of Morel being Hall of Fame. And again, it's like I mentioned about Morel, it's so hard to compare eras. We're in an era now where we're not in Super League, we're not the top of the rugby tree, but Hall of Fame is what they give to that organisation. And what Morel and Tyra have given to Halifax.
The fact they've done 9 years, 10 years should, carry the most weight, regardless of what they did during that time. Anyone that can stay at one club in any age, even back in the day, 9 years is a long time.
Definitely. And what Tyra has given to Halifax, he's given absolutely everything. And you can tell by the way he plays on the field. And the one thing that you want as a fan of a club, whether it's rugby, football, cricket, or whatever, you're not always going to have good games. You're not always going to play well or anything. But you want your players to at least look like they are playing for you. They are putting everything on that pitch for you. And Steve Tyra has done that every single time he's been on that pitch. He's had his bad games, he's had his off games with the boot. We mentioned that Dewsbury game back in 2013-14, or that horror show. And he's also had bad games in terms of not finding the winger with his passes and stuff like that. But he has put the effort in. He has drained every single ounce of his ability to win that game. And again, I'll go back to that Toulouse game in 2017. That final Uta when everyone's hugging and jumping around for joy. You see Tyra fall to his knees. And I think he even said he had a bit of a weep in that moment there. That's encapsulates what playing for Halifax meant to him and why we love him as fans. Because
he do it for us. They all say they do it for us, but when he finally left, he was like, that was the biggest sticking point. Is I'm like, you guys, you fans, have made my time here. Yeah, you can get all the money in the world or whatever, but those experiences with the fans, we are a real family club. A lot of clubs say it, yeah. But those lads we treated them like brothers, and they treated us like equals, and we'll forever have those memories now because of that. I think we've got Richard Marshall to thank for a lot of that, and I'd like to see Grixie get back to some kind of connection between the fans and the players again. But the thing with Tyra is, like you say, he played for the fans. It was so obvious. I think he took a lot of inspiration from his sporting heroes, Steven Gerrard. He tried over the years to look as close, as much like him as he possibly could. But he played with his heart on his sleeve, and he went out there and put his body on the line. Like I say, it wasn't always as polished as it might be, but when it worked, I mean, boy, did it work. I mean, we're going to look back in years to come and go, God, that were good, wasn't it? Even though it was the only move we had. Every time Tyra jumped in the air, we were like 50% chance it was a try.
Successful teams do it. Wigan did it with Pat Richards. If you've got a move which works, and again, if you've got an advantage, you use it. And Tyra had it most times. Did we come over reliant on it? Yeah, but can you blame us?
Did it work if you're every time? Yeah. So can you blame us?
No, not at all. But again, he's doing a bit to say that he had more tricks than that. He is probably the best consistent goal kicker since John Schuster for Halifax. Lee Patterson did very, very well, but in terms of more than a couple of... Lee Patterson only really kicked for like 1 or 2 years, but it was bonkers the amount of points he got.
Well, that was because of Steve, really.
Yeah, very much so. But like, and his goal kicking was unbelievable. The pressure kick, and that is a mark of a good goal kicker. The pressure kicks where you have to land, he lands them.
Yeah,
and it's frustrating sometimes because he does miss sometimes where he expects to get them, but we get a pressure kick to win a game or something like. You put your money on Steve Tyra for landing those, but he's just a great player, and he's got, if anything, he's got better with age. And one of the biggest compliments I can give him is that I think it was a Love Rugby League article a couple of days after that he got announced by the club saying that he'd left. And there was a chap on there, I don't know who he supported, but he actually said, he got better with age and he could have played Super League at some point. And that is a really big compliment for remember the opposition fans. I don't know who the guy support, but to say, I could have played Super League at the time is a big. And to be fair, he probably could have done. Would he be a leading light? I don't think so, but he'd have done a very, very good job at Super League club. And personally, I think he got better with age because he got more involved in terms of taking the donkey field, like all the drives when you're coming out from our own red zone kind of thing. He got a lot better with that. And then personally speaking, I would have loved to have seen him play second row for us next year. I think his days as a centre were kind of running short on him, but I think he'd have made a really good second row because his try scoring prowess. I think you mentioned it to me when you were making the video for him, that how many tries he scores. He's got
technique. technically is absolutely sound as a pound when it comes to going 1-on-1, 2-on-1 at the line. There's no better at keeping the ball free and promoting, but I'm not convinced that he has the strength to do it. I think he's happy in his position at centre. You know, he don't want to be doing 55 tackles a game and then goal kicking and everything on top. But I just wanted to say that the thing about Tyra more than anything that stands out is, I think the one thing that everyone will realise and remember is that during his time with Halifax, he always enjoyed his rugby. He never looked like he didn't want to be there. Yeah. He never looked like, you know, he was sulking. No. He looked like he enjoyed like Muzzy, he just looked like he were a kid on a park playing with his mates, and it meant everything to him, and we'll remember that forever.
Yeah, and he was always kind of the first ones to join in with fans in terms of celebrating. Like on the goal that you made, I think it was against Lee in the middle eights. He came towards the south stand, and then after the whole KR game, you see him breaking away from the pack, and he just absolutely loved it.
He gets it.
How much it meant to him.
He gets that fans make sports clubs. He's a fan himself of a sports club. He totally understands it, and the Hall of Famer for sure for me.
It must be. I don't know what the criteria for Hall of Fame is. It must be the retired stuff. I don't know, because there's been plenty of players. This is for another podcast. Maybe there we go. That's a theme for a podcast. Hall of Fame inductees. There we go. Let's box that in. But because there's not been one since Kyle Harrison.
Yeah.
So
which is crazy. If we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame in general terms, it's kind of like, oh, well, these guys played internationally, but we've been out of Super League for a long time now. You have to change your criteria. I don't think adding someone like those two guys diminishes the history of the previous guys.
Not at all. It's like I mentioned before, it's about the club at the time, and I'm fairly certain there are players in the Hall of Fame who played for Halifax when we weren't a glamour club, when we weren't winning trophies or anything like that. They gave their all to the team, and I say I'm not Andrew Hardcastle. I'm not a massive historian like facts and the facts and figures and stuff. But there must be players in there who won't have got representative honours, who won't have won championships, whatever, but they'll have played so many times for the club and done it with distinction, really. Like for instance, look at Scotty, for instance. Fair enough, Mick Scott won Challenge Cup and that sort of thing, but never had representative honours. But he's played God knows how many games for Halifax.
Yeah,
and he did it with absolute class. And
I think that's one thing that rugby league fails at, really, is legacy. Is appreciating these. You know, they put people into the Hall of Fame, the Rugby League Hall of Fame, 20 years after they've retired. I know you hate me using the comparisons, but I'm going to use the three letters that you despise, the NFL. They're inducting people into the Hall of Fame maybe 2 or 3 years after they've retired, because they understand that these Hall of Famers become ambassadors for your sport. Look how great this guy was, and you go out and he sells the game everywhere he goes. Having a living, breathing Hall of Famer coming back to your club every time, it'll be sold out.
Yeah, American sports get it. Like, lockdown has made me even has rediscovered my love for WWE wrestling, because I've just kind of rediscovered my youth. But Hall of Fame for there, they do it before wrestling, but they're living and breathing, and they get the people in there to do it. And how good would it be to have Steve Tyra or Scott Morrell back? Say goodbye, thanks, but also there you go, you're in Hall of Fame. I think rugby league does well in terms of the heritage numbers and stuff, because football don't do that. It's only Aaron Bauer for Bradford City who were the first ones to do it. He's done the heritage numbers there, but I think we do a good job there. But I completely agree with your point. Like, to say that Cal Harrison left Halifax in 1998, and we've not had anyone who's been viable for the Hall of Fame since then. Completely disagree with that.
Yeah,
Dave Lyle should be. I'm going to start the superstar Dave Lyle for Hall of Fame right here, right now.
That's a topic for another podcast, I'm sure.
that should be the next one. Anyone who's watching who wants to join in on this Hall of Fame, by the way, please come on, because this is an interactive podcast. Right? I'm so chuffed for the numbers who actually tune into the live stream, watching me look like a. Looking like a monkey gorilla, just tapping at stuff, going,
like a little kid that had lost your dad. Where's Rick gone?
Has anybody seen Rick Farrell? But yeah,
I mean,
that's a great topic for next. I think or Hall of Fame. That'd be great. But yeah, to tie the Steve Tyler, because we'll come to an end soon. But what more can be said? Though that is the thing, and it's just a shame really because we had him on fairly recently, so we had a good look back. But it's just again because at the time we didn't know he was leaving. He didn't know he was leaving at the time,
yeah.
and to have that finality of it, and then him not having the chance to break the points record, it would have been amazing for him. But even so, 2,000 points at a rugby league club in this day and age where the comings and goings, as I mentioned before, it's like a merry-go-round for transfer. You very rarely get players staying a club for the length of time that Tyra and indeed Morella.
Yeah.
To score 2,000 points is an unbelievable achievement, and he should be incredibly proud. And I'm proud for him because he's done it so well. As I say, he's not just kicked goals, he's scored tries. He's not just done either of those. He's been a brilliant player. He's not just been a brilliant player. He's been a brilliant bloke.
He's been a great ambassador as well.
Of course, he's been one of the ones where, like, for the longest time, I went out of my way not to talk to players because they're my heroes. And one of those where you don't want to meet your heroes because you'll just be disappointed kind of thing. And I just didn't talk to players at all. That Toulouse trip changed it for me because I realised that they are human. I got talking to them. Again, this thing did it for me. But Tyra was one of the ones who, A, was really approachable to talk to, but also recognised you going forward. Like, I'm a fanboy at the end of the day, and for one of my heroes to look at me and say, "All right, how you doing?"
Knows my name.
Yes, and the little 8-year-old boy inside of me, like, "Oh my God, a Hollywood player knows who I am." It kind of takes me back to going on to Thrumore Field and asking Craig Dean for his ties and stuff like that. It's just one of those really, but he's just been an absolute class act for us in every way, shape, and form. And it's good that he's not broken a record. It's good that he's not made it the even 10 years because that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
I hope he does get a testimonial from the RFL, whatever he does. There's rumours of where he's going to. I don't know if they're true, whether he's retiring for the game. I don't know. I hope he does carry on because he's still got plenty of miles in the tank, in my opinion. But
I think he will.
He's just been an absolute brilliant player and absolute quality. I'm guessing you think the same, Rick.
Absolutely, mate. Like I said, the memories that we've got from Tyra, they're up there with some of the best ever. The loose pass that he scooped up against Bradford, then the leaping penalty try at Ordsall, and all, like you say, all these close goal kicks to win games, and but diving on that ball against Fev at the Blackpool Cup final, winning as a trophy, which is something that we hadn't done for a long time, was. Like, you could never take that away from him, ever.
No, and like we talked about this before, like when it was announced about like what moment you could encapsulate for Tyra. It does come down to two, really. It comes down to the winning try against Feb in the 2012 Northern Rail final, or the last minute try against Bradford he wanted to win the game. The game was already won. We were winning, but it was to confirm it.
I thought it was. No, I think you're wrong there. I think we kicked a penalty to go 16-all, and that won us the game.
I think we were just in front, but I don't know. Well, I thought we were still in front. Anyway, that try, just the feeling, and I said at the time, "Oh, you can't beat a try to win a cup. You can't. You just can't." But on reflection, thinking back, that feeling of just watching him going over and actually celebrating to the crowd as he's going over and thinking, crazy. After 17 years against those, it's just absolutely amazing. And and he said it himself, didn't he, on the Magic Moments thing he did. That is his moment. And
how can
you disagree with him?
Absolutely, mate.
How can you disagree with him? I think that's everything. Were there any more questions on the live stream, or was that everything?
Are you contemplating boycotting live stream for life? I think that was asked by Rick Farrell.
Anyone who wants to help do a live stream, I think there's a future in it, because I say it's anything that's different, any ideas, please put them forward. It might be something that we can do once we can actually come within 2 meters of each other and still go in the house. Or maybe that is what we're going to do. But any sort of different ideas, sling them our way, and we're sure we'll do them. We've not left anyone out in terms of people leaving, have we?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have. I thought we had so many more because everyone's leaving. Doom and gloom.
Don't take the piss, Michael.
I never ever do that. But no, thank you very much as always for joining me, Rick.
Cheers, mate.
Pleasure as always. And thank you everyone for watching, not just a live stream. Laura Lee, thank you very much for going on that. And for everyone in Internet Land, thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Mike Haig, and as always, up the fat.